Next thing on the agenda is public input. Does anybody want to address the council?
I do, if no one else doesn't.
Sure, go ahead.
No one else? If I can send this out in an email to everybody on council, but I think it's nice to formalize it and go on record a little bit more, is we're currently worked quite a bit with consultants on the wastewater treatment facility. And if you didn't see it 4 days ago, I think it was Friday, a report came out from an internal state investigation that said the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources has basically failed 94% of the time in its enforcement of water pollution. So right now we have a wastewater treatment facility that is undergoing a lot of scrutiny and meeting phosphorus mandates. But at the same time, they've decided to strong-arm the municipality. An internal investigation shows that the DNR is currently failing on enforcing water pollution 94% of the time, meaning the 87 to 88% contributor of our phosphorus load, the city is 12%, is essentially under no scrutiny or regulation right now. So just as we go forward, when we decide how much money, which currently it's $250,000, we are looking at investing in this, let's keep in mind that there's some very significant out of balance things going on right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to address the council? Next thing on the agenda is George Farrader, who's running for his 42nd assembly. George?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the council for allowing me this opportunity. I'm here to introduce myself and to provide a little bit of background and to field any questions you might have. Not here to give a stump speech, but certainly to let you know who I am and what I'm about, and to answer any questions. So yes, I'm George Farrader. I'm running for state assembly here in District 42. Some of you may recall that 2 years ago I ran, and we're back at it again. I'm a retired mechanical engineer, born into a military family on a military base, with a career background in engineering, worked for many years in Beloit building large diesel engines for a variety of applications. More recently, I've been a 2-term village president in Doylestown, which is in east central Columbia County, and currently sit on the village board. So between my military background, my professional background, and now my background as a public servant, I think I bring a set of skills and abilities to the table that can be useful to the state of Wisconsin and District 42 in particular. Our principal campaign elements are similar to 2 years ago. Strong public schools, rural and local roads, clean water, and local control. Interestingly, those are similar to our campaign platform planks of 2 years ago, which kind of speaks for itself. But as I said, I'm not here to give a stump speech. I'm here to introduce myself, to refresh your memories as to who I am, and to alert you to the fact that I'll be out and about. You'll see me probably fairly often here in Lodi over the next few months. This is an important part of the district for us, and we do have some campaign team members down in this area. So I would like to answer any questions you might have if anybody has anything they'd like to ask. I'm here.
A quick question.
Sure.
As a municipality right now, we see numerous strategies at a state level that are passing funding responsibilities to local districts. Whether it be the idea of enacting a 0.5% extra increase in sales tax that can help offset cutbacks in transportation and road funding, or the concept of cutting back on school funding and letting the school district increase its tax collection, but the state is still collecting the same amount of money.
Sure.
So the state's still collecting the same amount of money, but it's not changing, it's actually cutting back on its disbursements. Meanwhile, the strategy is to pass the ability to collect to the local districts. That makes sense if there's a cutback in collection, but the collection is still the same.
And that is an interesting challenge, because on the one hand, Local communities are perhaps the best judges of their local needs, and if they have the capability of raising a revenue stream locally, that does seem to make some sense, particularly for things like schools and roads. What we've seen in the past several years are many school districts, particularly rural school districts, forced into the position of having to go to the electorate on referenda for operating costs. That's sort of an example of that, although not directly. All of that said, the state has a responsibility to live up to providing for the public good. Infrastructure is an example of that. Now, whereas it may be useful and good for a municipality to have some capability to solve your problems locally, and I do understand that you have a wheel tax in place down here in Lodi, the state really bears the principal burden of providing for adequate roads. And we've had a system that worked fairly well for quite a long period of time. And I think we need to critically look at how to enhance the statewide revenue streams so that municipalities can be adequately funded for their road needs. We really don't want to create a reality in Wisconsin where every incorporated municipality, whether it be a city or a village, is a principality with its own set of tax rules. I don't believe that's productive. Certainly you may need the capability to do something like your wheel tax under certain circumstances. But I will say it avails the state to ensure that revenue streams coming into the state, which are robust, are properly dispersed to every village, town, and city to maintain their roads and other things. Schools is analogous to roads. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's just, yes, it does. The feeling is that there doesn't seem to be a cutback on the amount that's being collected.
Right.
But there is, and we can tell you in numerous instances of very true reality, that there is a cutback in dispensing.
Yes.
So there has not been a cutback in collecting,
Right.
but there has been in dispensing, and that doesn't quite feel right.
And we're aware of that in Doylestown as well, although we're a microcosm of your problems here. And it does bear a critical examination as to how the revenue streams are being directed. If the money coming in is robust, but the money is being parsed out in a way that doesn't benefit everybody, what's wrong with that equation? I'm an engineer, and I've lived my life making database decisions. This is an example of something that should be looked at on that basis. Well, if that's it, I'm going to leave each of you with my card and shake each of your hands. There you go. Indeed. Yeah, good to
Thank
see
you
you.
so much.
There you go. Thank you. Sir, there you go. Yeah, my pleasure. There you go. Sure, no, I'm glad you were willing to have me here. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you, sir. There you go.